Alright, alright, alright. I wanted to get on here and talk real quick about some changes to the Bronzebeard PvP experience going on. We recently had some nerfs come in for a couple of classes. I'm going to go over those real quick and then we'll talk about them. So the first one is Glyph of Avenger's Shield. Avenger's Shield now increases its damage by 50% in PvP combat, changed from 100%. So that's a 50% nerf to Avenger's Shield. Huge. Huge. Shield of Righteousness now deals 10% less damage in PvP combat. Not as much, but still a little bit of a nerf there. Hammer of Righteousness now deals 10%. So what this is, these first three, is Prot Paladin. And the big deal there is that Prot Paladins are kind of really OP, or they were up until this nerf, because they have so much survivability compared to other classes. And turn my voice down a little bit. And yeah, that's really evident in high risk and in arena. So you go up against, like, it's hard to believe, but I went up against a double pally team that was like really high rated, and they're really, I mean, you would get one down to kill him and the other one would just go heal him, or he would go off to the side. Meanwhile, the other one's doing crazy damage to you. So they both do really high damage because of Revenger's Shield and Hammer of the Righteous and Shield of the Righteous. So I think this nerf was warranted for sure. And I don't like to really, call for nerfs or anything, but I think that this is a good balancing change from what I've seen and what I've experienced in arena and high risk. Do I think it cripples the class? No, because they still have a ton of survivability, still have a ton of damage, and you could still have a lot of plays even with this nerf. It's just they're not going to be able to hit you for like 2.5k or whatever Avenger shields, with all their damage up. So we'll go on to the next one. Shadow Crash now deals 10% less damage in combat. Yeah, I mean, it's very bursty. This is like a minor, it's 10%. I think they're trying to gauge, the devs are trying to gauge, like, where do we want to have this offensive damage, and just kind of whittle away at it and kind of see where the balance leads them from there. They don't want to go too crazy. So it's just 10%. Windlash, 10% damage, PvP combat. Windlash, I don't think the damage itself, I know it's going to sound crazy, but I don't think it's the damage, like the flat damage that does so much. It's the procs, right? So, an enhanced shaman comes up to you and hits you like 6 times or whatever, for a shit ton of damage, and that's really the problem. But I think this is going to bring them back a little bit, and to me, shamans aren't really a huge problem compared to rep paladins, because shamans don't have as much survivability, or not rep paladins, prot paladins, because shamans can be kited easily, and their heals have to be cast. So, well, unless they get procs or whatever, but if they get right on top of you, it's a problem. But, for most classes, they could get a defensive and kite it out or whatever. It's not a huge issue. But obviously they saw something. The devs saw something enough to nerf it. And it's not just people complaining. I'm sure they're looking at the matchups. They're looking at ratings. They're looking at, okay, who's winning and how fast are they winning, and who's doing all of the high risk combat, the majority of it. And it's these 3 classes: Warlock, Shaman, Prot Warrior, Prot Paladin, some Prot Warriors out there, some Fire Mages, a few Hunters. Hunters aren't really a problem because they have almost no defensives, so you have to play super defensive as far as like kiting and you know trapping and everything else. Like you have to use every little bit of your kit, whereas some of these classes can just use like one or two pieces of their kit and shit on a hunter. So there's still going to be needs to be a lot more changes. This is just the beginning of what I think will be more to come. And they say that here, these updates are follow-ups to general resilience change from last week and aim to rein in the most dominant outliers in short term. So they're thinking that things are kind of, you know, with gear changes and as long as people get more gear, the meta is going to like develop more and there's going to be more diversity. And they say that here. Uh, there will be more tweaks like this in next coming over the next days if needed. But the primary focus is on the bigger long-term balance paths that will be centered around buffs and improved diversity. So obviously everyone, and I can only speak for myself, I guess, but you know, diversity is super important when it comes to PvP. You know, you don't want one class just shitting on everybody, you know, especially when it comes to high risk or something that's very rewarding, and there's a huge reward to doing it. High rated arena. So you want to have more players and more diversity. You don't want players quitting because, oh, my class is shitty in PvP or in this part of PvP or whatever. So I think they're trying, and that's to me that's you know a good thing, and very it makes me happy to see that they're gonna at least try to balance it a little bit. I know it's difficult because it's you know you got a lot of new players, you got a lot of um, different kind of specs, and the you know the mystic enchants and everything just adds so much, so many things that you can change that it's kind of hard to rein it in. But I think they're trying, and that's good. Um, yeah, that's basically what I wanted to go over for PvP. I'm gonna make another video on you know what I think about the server so far, and I'm gonna make another hunter video too. So stay tuned, like and subscribe. Savage out.